Hey friends, welcome to Everyday English. My name is Lisa and this is your easy listening English learning podcast that you can enjoy with your cup of coffee. My question for you today is, are you working full-time, part-time or casually? We're continuing our discussions about work from the last episode. Today we'll focus on different employment arrangements. Most people work a traditional full-time 9-to-5 job, but in recent years we've seen the rise of alternative work arrangements and schedules that better fit people's lifestyles, goals and responsibilities. I am one of these people. I don't work a full-time job, I make my living working a part-time job and 2 casual jobs. This allows me to balance the stability of a steady income from a part-time job and the flexibility and freedom to take on more work when I want and to take time off when I need. If you're unsure what I just said, don't worry, we'll break it all down in today's episode. Let's start with full-time and part-time work. Full-time jobs are your traditional 9-to-5 jobs, typically involving working around 35 to 40 hours a week. Most people work full-time jobs. They have standard work hours, something like Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Full-time positions are common in industries such as healthcare, technology, education, and most corporate sectors. Most jobs we mentioned in the first episode are full-time roles. These include engineers, doctors, accountants, and lawyers. What makes full-time work desirable is the stability it offers. Stability here means having a consistent paycheck which provides a reliable income and a living wage. I mean, we all need money to live, to meet our living expenses, pay bills, engage in recreational activities, and plan for the future. You can see why full-time work is an attractive option for people with a family to support and a hefty mortgage to pay. Full-time work comes with other benefits. These include paid time off, which means you're given paid vacation days each year. In Australia, we get 4 weeks or 20 days per year of paid leave or annual leave. How many paid vacation days do you get per year? I know this varies from country to country, so I'm always curious to learn about these differences. Paid time off also includes public holidays. So if your workday falls on a public holiday, you get paid time off. And this is on top of the paid vacation days we mentioned earlier. The other major benefit is paid sick days. Again, this varies from country to country, so let me know your leave entitlements below. In Australia, we typically get 10 sick days per year, but this can vary between jobs. Other countries may have additional full-time work benefits that don't come with part-time or casual employment. For example, in the US, health insurance and retirement fund contributions are 2 common full-time benefits some employers offer, which a part-time or casual employee is not entitled to. I mentioned earlier that I have a part-time job. I work 3 days a week as a personal trainer at a gym. I run group classes and personal training sessions, and I also do the gym's admin and sales, looking after existing members and trying to bring in new ones. A part-time job is anything less than a full-time load, generally fewer than 35 hours a week, for instance, anywhere between 2 to 4 days a week. As a part-time employee, you still get the same entitlements as full-time staff, only these entitlements are accrued pro rata. This means entitlements are accrued proportionally to your work hours. For example, if a full-time employee is entitled to 20 days of annual leave, but a part-time employee works half the hours of a full-time employee, the part-time employee would accrue leave on a pro rata basis, earning 10 days of leave instead of 20. Sick leave is also accrued on a pro rata basis. This is one key difference between part-time and casual jobs. Part-time employees accrue benefits on a pro rata basis, whereas casual employees do not have the same employment benefits. Having said that, this may also vary from country to country. For example, in the US, part-time workers typically do not receive the same benefits as full-time employees, though it can vary depending on the employer and the nature of the job. Many part-time employees do not receive paid time off. Some companies offer prorated paid time off, but this is not standard practice across all industries in the US. Do you work part-time? If so, why have you chosen to work part-time? What do you like about your work arrangement? People work part-time for many reasons. Some may want better work-life balance so they can juggle personal life and work commitments. This is especially true for parents, caregivers, or individuals with personal responsibilities such as caring for elderly relatives or pursuing passion projects. In dual-income households, one person might be working full-time, earning good money, and the other person working part-time might be the primary caregiver for their children or do more around the household. It's also not uncommon for people in high-paying positions to drop down from full-time to part-time hours because they still earn a comfortable salary while having more time for personal commitments. I know a few doctors and engineers who do this. Some are pursuing further study or research projects. Others are just wanting more time for their hobbies and passions. The other key difference between part-time and casual jobs is stability. Part-time employees work set hours per week. This means having a regular schedule with guaranteed hours each week, which provides them with a more stable income. On the other hand, casual workers are usually hired on an as-needed basis without a fixed schedule. Their work hours are not guaranteed and can fluctuate from week to week, leading to a level of financial uncertainty. Casual employment is common in industries where demand fluctuates, such as retail, hospitality, events, and healthcare. This allows employers to put on more staff during busy periods and to pull back during quieter periods. Casual workers are paid a slightly higher rate than their full-time or part-time colleagues for the same work to compensate for the lack of entitlements and financial stability. The additional amount, usually calculated as a percentage of an hourly rate, is called casual loading. For example, if a permanent employee, that is a full-time or part-time employee, earns $20 per hour, a casual worker doing the same job might earn $25 per hour, with an extra $5 per hour being the casual loading. The percentage of loading can vary by industry and country, but it's typically around 15 to 25% on top of the base hourly rate. In practice, there is a sort of delicate balancing act by employers who need to provide some degree of predictability for employees to retain them, while also having the benefit of a flexible workforce they can call on when needed. Employers usually set expectations around the hours you will be allocated, but the understanding is still, of course, that this can fluctuate. Casual workers are allocated shifts on a roster, which means their work hours are scheduled based on the employer's needs and the availability of shifts. The flexibility works both ways. Employees can choose to accept or decline shifts. They can take on as much or sometimes as little work as they want. This makes casual work ideal for people who can tolerate some financial instability and need a more adaptable schedule, such as students, parents, or those with other commitments. On top of my part-time job, I work 2 casual jobs. The first as a teacher at a fitness college, teaching the fitness course to future trainers. I do this 1 day a week. My hours are consistent throughout the teaching semester, but they can vary from term to term. I also don't get paid in the holidays. For me, these first 2 jobs, my personal training job and my teaching job, make up nearly full-time hours. So my last job, a casual retail job, is really for extra money on the side. I work at an electronics store selling gadgets and filling stock. It's my most flexible job where I often turn down shifts because I'm offered more work than I can take on. It allows me to choose when and how much I want to work this job. For instance, working extra when I want to save up for a holiday and working less when I take these holidays. Do you work a casual job? If so, what are your hours like? One potential downside of casual work is that a varying work schedule makes it hard to plan things, especially if you want to accept as many shifts as you're offered. For example, if your friends want to make weekend plans or go away for a few days, you might not be able to commit to those plans knowing that if you're called into work, you'd have to cancel. You might tell them, "I need to see the roster before I let you know," or "Sorry, I'm not sure when I'll be rostered, so I'll have to let you know." Friends, I want to start introducing a grammar point into these episodes. I want to break down the grammar behind everyday phrases to help you avoid common grammatical mistakes and speak with confidence and ease. Today I want to focus on the phrase will be rostered. This phrase is often used in workplaces that use rosters or schedules, particularly in jobs with flexible or casual hours. Let's start with the main idea and verb roster. To roster means to assign or schedule someone to work during specific shifts or times. They are rostered onto specific shifts depending on when they are needed. For example, you are rostered for the morning shift on Monday, or they are rostered for different hours next month. Then what does it mean to be rostered? The phrase be rostered is in the passive voice. We use passive voice when we either don't know who performed the action, it's not important who acted, or we want to omit that information. Instead, with passive voice, we're focusing on the recipient of the action and the result of the action. The passive voice is formed using the verb be plus the past participle of the main verb. The past participle is a verb form used in English to indicate completed actions or states. This is how we get be rostered. We combine the verb be with rostered, the past participle of roster. In this passive construction, the subject is the person being rostered, not the one doing the rostering. Here, to be rostered means that you have been put on the roster. You have been allocated a shift to work, so you are in the state of being rostered. Finally, we add the future tense, forming the phrase will be rostered. The word will is used to talk about the future. When we say will, we are referring to something that is going to happen later or after the current moment. In this case, the use of will tells us that the action, being put on a roster, will happen at some point in the future. For example, you will be rostered next week. They will be rostered for extra shifts over the holiday period. Let's put it all together by revisiting our original phrase. Sorry, I'm not sure when I'll be rostered, so I'll have to let you know. Here, will be rostered refers to a time in the future when you'll be assigned a shift, and as a result, you'll be in a state of being allocated work. In other words, you will be rostered. And until you know when you will be rostered, you can't make plans with your friends. Friends, I hope that all made sense. Let me know your feedback on our very first grammar point. As always, I want to keep the conversation going, so let me know your answers to the following questions down below. Do you work full-time? If so, what are your employment benefits? Do you work part-time? If so, why have you chosen to work part-time? What do you like about your work arrangement? Do you work a casual job? If so, what are your hours like? I look forward to reading about your jobs and how you spend your work week. Thank you so much for listening, and I will catch you soon in another episode.